Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for Effective Networking, part of the Boost Your Career series webinars that Tulane University and Sioux Mentors are co-sponsoring. Today, we're going to start on talking about effective networking, answering these questions. What do I do about and how do I build a professional network, and then how do I maintain it? But how do I network effectively? We'll answer these questions as we go through the webinar. Who, what, when, where, and why, not surprisingly. And most important to you is so what? Why are you going to benefit and why should you care? And what can you put into practice when you leave this short webinar? So let's start first with what is your network? This is probably what your network looks like. Either you have a picture of your friends and colleagues in mind, or you have a list of contacts. But effective networking is not just being in touch with these people, but being engaged. And this is a way for them to remember you. You are the one who should be reaching out. Don't rely on the other person. We're going to talk about how do you reach out and how do you maximize this. Just a caveat in the what category, this is not the way to get a job. No matter what the HR folks writing on blogs lately have been saying about the only way to get a job is through an effective network connection. It's not the only way. There's a lot of ways to get a job, and I have mentees recently who've just done that, not used a network connection. It's also not your friends and family, although there may be serendipity of running into someone at a housewarming party and they help you get a job. Mostly what effective networking is the engagement in your ability to show the value that you bring. How are you going to do this and with who or with whom, as my grammarian father might have reminded me? This is all about seeing what's out there and being seen, and we're going to focus on this through in-person and electronic networking. In-person networking is going to challenge you to broaden your view of networking. It's much more than just meeting with a person in a one-on-one meeting. First of all, you're going to map your resources by these characteristics: geographic area, topical areas of interest to you, what's available and reachable and feasible time-wise, money-wise. For me, free is the thing I'm looking for. But as you map these characteristics, don't forget about what I call adjacencies. I'm in public health, for example, so I might also look for social work or health administration or even results-based evaluation information for networking opportunities that are in my area. For me, in this area, around the DC area, I've got my university alumni group. There are different universities here, medical institutions, professional networks, and also in the bottom right corner, a DC-based conference that happens every year. So there's a variety of things I can do. And when you go to these things, whether they're in person in a small group, whether it's a big presentation like it was at USAID last year, there are opportunities to make yourself known. So you don't just go to a meeting or a book club or a seminar and sit there and leave. You ask a question and make sure you introduce yourself first, thank the speaker in person at the end, but make sure you mention, I really liked what you said specifically about what I should put in the heading information in my CV, so that even if they don't remember your name, they'll remember a picture of you and they'll say, oh yes, this was a person who was engaged with me. There comes that word engagement again. Turning now to electronic networking, which is unfortunately what many people think is the best way to reach out. It's easy to do this, but the reason for doing this, again, how you see and be seen is different for each type of electronic tool. I'm going to describe the ones that I think are the easiest engagement with the biggest impact for you that these tools maximize your scarce time. First one that most people forget about is email. We get direct messaging there, you get newsletters, you get blogs and postings alerts, you get alerts to webinars, And that is, as many marketing people know, that's the easiest thing to do. That's called a push technology, because they push something out to you. You get it, it's very easy, and you just have to read it. You don't have to go looking for it on a website. The added advantage you have electronically with an easy one is webinars. You register, you watch. There are attendee lists. Sometimes they're on the web, sometimes they're not, but they will get you visibility. And when you attend something, the people providing that webinar for you are going to remember your name. It'll be on there. I'm going to turn now to two tools, LinkedIn and Twitter. Both of these have different ways to use them. LinkedIn is a professional website, so it's important to realize that not everyone on LinkedIn wants to connect. And this is critical because a lot of people will recommend using LinkedIn as your networking connection source. You need to have a good professional website, and LinkedIn is it. So here's a colleague of mine who's also a friend, who's got a great picture. He's got his summary paragraph. He's put up his last 2 to 3 job descriptions with good descriptions, not just his job title and the amount of time he's worked there. Very strong, and it's easy to keep this up to date now that he's done this. Couple hidden assets in LinkedIn before we talk about how often and when you're going to do this is one of the hidden asset number one is groups. LinkedIn probably has over 1 million groups now. They let you join 100 groups, and I counted the other day and I'm now in 57. My key recommendation to remember about LinkedIn is it is a place to not only see who's out there, but to be seen. So you have low-level engagement, liking something, all the way up to interacting. What you want to do in groups is find 3 to 5 topical areas. For example, the first couple that I've listed, evaluation and monitoring and evaluation, reproductive health, knowledge management, topical areas, and join 5 to 8 groups in those. This is going to help you see who's out there doing what. This will be a way you can connect to very senior people or the people who are the experts that you might want to be able to be connected to. But this is a way for you to engage with them, and they will have more relevance to you than a cold email network, networking email, sorry. Hidden asset number 2 is LinkedIn blogging. Let's go back to my friend Scott's profile. At the bottom of his first screen I showed you, right under his picture and his summary paragraph, LinkedIn will show me then his what they call articles and activities. And most of the time, if people haven't written an article, you'll just see activity, which is what's on the right, and I've blurred it a little bit. And that is, what has he read, what has he shared, what has he liked. If you've written an article, if you've used LinkedIn's blogging platform, you will see this. And when you go to Scott's, I posted the picture here, you will see in the URL, it says Pulse. At one time, they called their blogging platform Pulse. They don't call it that anymore, but that's where you'll find it because it's very difficult to get there otherwise. But if you get there with this URL, you can get to it for other things. Scott had contacted me, and I recommended he do some updating of his LinkedIn profile. I gave him some of the tools that I had available that explained the advantage of LinkedIn blogging. And he did this, and I was really pleased to find this. This is a way that he could show his technical area. He's an information systems person. He works a lot with collection of data, big amounts of data, small amounts of data, and helping people use the data to make sense of it in terms of public health issues. I thought this was really interesting and a perspective that you don't often see. He talks about data speaking back to you, and this is about data isn't just a series of numbers, but what is the story it's telling. So it's really interesting, and I will now go and actually amplify what he's done by pointing it out to other people. But this is a way you can distinguish yourself. So number 1 was groups, number 2 is blogging. Turning now to Twitter. Many people that I know professionally aren't on Twitter, but I think it's a very valuable resource. If you think of LinkedIn as your monthly journal that you might get in your industry, where you can catch up with news pretty quickly, Twitter is fast moving, much more informal. LinkedIn is not open in the way that Twitter is. Twitter is very open, but it's a way that you can show your technical capacity. And of all of the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those are the big ones. A lot of brands are now on too. Twitter is the one that I would invest my time in, or that I do invest my time in. I put up 3 boxes for a reason. On the left, you'll see my Twitter profile. I've got some words in there that will surface in a search. So my name is not just Sue Mentors. I talk about mentoring and I talk about public health as a hashtag in my profile. I have the same picture there that I have in LinkedIn. You want to be consistent. So when you change your picture in one place, change it every other place. In the middle panel, I've shared with you part of my Twitter list. So this is a way that Twitter can be disaggregated so you won't be so overwhelmed. You'll see that I have 79 members I follow in evaluation. So if I don't have a lot of time, like I'm on vacation and maybe I just have 5 minutes that I'm flipping through Twitter or on a weekend, I might go to my eval list just to see what's out there technically. The other thing that Twitter has been useful for in the last several years is focusing a group of people with a similar interest around what they call a Twitter chat. So that's taking a hashtag, and in this case I did eval 2017, the American Evaluation Association's eval conference last fall, to show you how you can get specific engagement around a topic area. There's a monthly eval Twitter chat. The topic's announced every month. Same thing, I can go find the Twitter chat and see what's happening there. It's no different from when you see on Twitter what's trending or try to find big news, but here's a way that you can show your technical capacity. I have a lot of what I call Twitter friend colleagues in evaluation now who recognize me, who I've never met in person. 2 of them were actually collaborating on some articles going into the future. When are you going to do this? Well, you're going to do this when you have professional news you want to communicate. For example, you can use email to announce big news like a promotion or a change of a job, or I did with my retirement, to your professional network in your contacts list before you actually put it out on social media or even before your company announces it. You want to make sure they get your intimate news. You will use LinkedIn in ways I'm going to talk to you about going forward, and Twitter the same way. So think about, again, the consistency, but the rippling effect of starting with who you know most in your contact list and then using social media to amplify it. Here's my recipe for LinkedIn. It's pretty easy. 5 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, and read your feed and like 3 to 4 posts that your colleagues put up there. That's the minimum, but it's going to get you noticed. Extra credit will be if you write your own status update about something you've done, and I've already talked about LinkedIn groups. Liking and commenting in those and writing a blog post also get you noticed and engagement going. Twitter's very easy. 3 to 5 minutes a day if you want a formula. I flip through it if I'm standing in line sometimes, but things change very quickly there, but some things don't change. The most important thing in Twitter is not reading it. It's as it is with LinkedIn, engaging with it. So I retweet topical information. I like topical information. Top right, you see my colleague Kavita, who's been doing a series of eval tips on how it is to have an evaluation business. I thought it was important to retweet these because this is a source that isn't written up in areas that are approachable. So this would be something people would be interested in. And at the bottom, you'll see the Maternal Health Project, or the Maternal Health Task Force, I liked what they put up about Father's Day yesterday. Why are you going to do this? You're going to do this to stay connected with everybody. You're also going to do it because when you keep these connections and use these tools, you'll make a habit of this. So people will start seeing your name, they'll discover new colleagues, and you'll find that the more you do, the more you're able to do in terms of effective networking, being engaged, doing the outreach, and connecting with people. So the so what question, we're going to go through a couple screens of so what. Basically, this gets your voice beyond the tin can telephone and raises you above the din of the internet. You increase your visibility. So you'll see on the right the vanity search on my name. Hiring people, folks, clients, and people that you're working with, for example, on a panel discussion or a blog you might write, people will search for you to figure out who you are. You want to know that your Twitter feed is recognized there, that your LinkedIn is there on your first page, any blogging posts are there. That gets you noticed, and it gets you noticed by the people who you can do business with. Very easy impact for not much effort and money. You also do this because this helps you while helping your colleagues and your colleague friends. Kavita's business, I showed you the tweet. She has less than 500 followers. I have 1,500. So I amplify her good work, and that helps her and it helps me. Scott's got less than 500 connections, and 40 of them are the same people that he and I both know. But I have over 1,500 connections in LinkedIn. So my putting out about reading Scott's blog is going to help him, and it helps me. So all of these tools that I've mentioned are ways for you to have your easiest engagement, to do outreach, to be seen, and to be known as an effective networker. Thanks very much for attending. Contact either Sarah or Sue if you have any questions or want more information. And we'll look forward to seeing you on one of our other webinars on boosting your career.